Morning, folks. It is the 9th of July 2026. It's a bit warm again. Currently, it reckons here that it's 24. It feels a bit warmer than that, being honest with you. Told you yesterday morning that I felt a bit ropey. I went to have a lie on bed yesterday afternoon, and 3.5 hours later I woke up. I'm feeling a bit better, but yeah, I had a dream while I was asleep yesterday afternoon that I were on an aeroplane with Donald Trump, and we started arguing, and he kept making threats. They were going to do this and they were going to do that and have people do this and that. And the more threats he made, the more I laughed at him. Oh, it took me a moment. After I woke up, it took me a moment of clearing my head to realise, no, it was just a dream, Simon. You're not going to get assassinated by President of the United States. Yeah, so what to tell you then? We'll work backwards. Because there is a reason for working backwards. The thing I need to tell you at the end will be the long one. So 4 years ago, I were on a day shift, early at work. It was a Saturday, and there were a scooter rally at Bayton that week, which is sort of like Selby, York area. Well, more Selby than York. And I thought, you know what, bugger it. It's a nice red hot day. I'll set off. So I did. This is the route I took. And this is how it looked when I got there. It was lovely, it really was. Nice red hot day. Bumped into a couple of folks I knew. Had a pint of orange and soda water. Had a bit of a wander about and then came home. Yeah, not fancy, not major, but extremely enjoyable. So going to miss it. I really am. The more I think about it, the more I know I'm going to miss it. 10 years ago, I told you 10 years ago that dinners came up and we went out. And I thought, is that the time that we bumped into the Guggen band? Well, it was. The only way I can describe Frumptown Guggen band is they're like a German umpire band, but they're very mobile. They go all over and they do it. If they're playing in bands, they don't just stay in one place. They go round bands, they're doing it. And they tend to frequent and drop into some pubs. It just so happened, as we went in front door at number 7 in town, they were all in there. And it was like, well, how are we going to get to the bar? And I had the brainwave. We went down into the cellar bar, which was short, through it, up, which fetches you out at the toilets at the back of the old number 7, and back into the bar that way. I wish dearly I'd got a picture or a photo of Dinners' face once he'd witnessed this, but this is the delight that he encountered that afternoon. As I say, his face was an absolute picture. Because they were there quite a while. You couldn't hear yourself thinking, it was brilliant. So yeah. And speaking of dinners, brings me on to the last bit. I'll admit, I've sat and I've shed a tear today, because it's 15 years since we went up, and me and Dinners went up to Shows Stag Do. Now, bizarrely, and it's not something I seem to hear much of these days, but his stag do was the night before the wedding. And I was best man at Shul's wedding. Shul's not his real name, obviously. His real name's Neil. And they were marrying Sue, who was known as Vesper. So it was Shul and Vesper's wedding. And I've never, ever met two people so much in love with each other. I got to know Shul and Vesper when I was doing a breakfast show, radio show. I was doing it on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday because it fitted in with the shifts that I was doing at work. And I'd never met Shul. The first time I met him was this in Wakefield at a scooter rally, where I met him for the first time. I met Vesper for the first time, and wonderful human beings. I'd known them a good few years by this point, like I said, because Shul had been listening to my shows. I found out that this is not coming from me, this is coming from Vesper. She claims that I saved Shul. I give him a reason to get up on a morning, at least 3 times a week anyway, and it gave him a purpose getting up and listening to my radio shows, because he really weren't in a good place at the time. Not going to go into that because it's personal between me, him, and Shul and Vesper. Whether I did or not, I've only got Sue's word for it. I've only got Vesper's word for it. Shul had attest to it. And it's apparently because of that the second time I ever met him in real life is when I turned up at his door for his stag do, because I was going to be his best man next day. He asked me, I said, yeah. Like I said, everything that had gone on prior, the reasons why Shul asked me and didn't ask other people, relatives, friends, family, it's personal to them and personal to him, and it meant a lot to me. And we had a fucking cracking stag do. It was a fabulous evening. And the next day was something else. They got married in a registry office. Loads of people there. As you can probably tell, she was a skinhead. A proper one. And the reception was at a scooter rally. A scooter rally. Perfection. Absolute perfection. It had to be one of the best weddings I've ever been to. Definitely one of the best wedding receptions I've ever been to. It was Shieldon. I want to say, I might be wrong there, but the scooter rally were happening anyway. It's just so happens that let's have his reception there. So yeah, the live band, it was cracking. It really was. I bottled it and turned down a chance to have a DJ set because I'd never actually stood in front of anybody playing records. I had a box of records with me because I took one turntable, my PA system, and a box of records and my laptop for stag do. But it was a really cracking do. Sadly, 7 years ago, Vespa passed. Yeah. Even now, it upsets me because somebody's so full of life. Yeah. We went up, me and Vicky went up for the funeral. Not a nice thing. Funerals are never nice, let's be right about it. But it brought me because, as they do these days, they've got camera screens up with photos on a cycle. And as we walked through the door, the first thing I saw were that photo of me and Vespa. Yeah, so it kind of made me realise how much they thought of me as single people and as a married couple. But yeah, and I'll be honest with you, me and Shu occasionally chat nowadays, but it's very, very sporadic. And I've only just realised when the wedding photos come up on my time up this morning, I went to send a message to Shu and realised it's 2 years since I spoke to him, nearly. And I know everything that went off yet last year, everything, but I feel really, really guilty that I've not spoke to him in 2 years. So, here we go. Yeah, and that's all I've got for today because I'm a bit sad, and I don't want to be sad. Vespa won't want me being sad. Shu won't want me being sad, and I know that. But that's where we're at. And it don't take a lot to send me off these days. So, Vespa, Shu, my brother, if you see this, I don't know if you watch him, but if you do, I love you to bits, mate, and I've got to get dinners up and we've got to come and see you again. And Vespa, wherever you are, honest me, sweetheart, I love you to bits. They actually came down to Fibre the first time. One of the first gigs I ever played and put on myself was in a bar, Opium, number 10. I know it Opium 10 or Opium Bar anyway, Barnsley. And they came down for it from Sunderland. And there was me, Vicky, Vespa, Shu, and 2 other people in the place. So, yeah. But anyway, I believe that's it for today. I will have a double check on what I've done screenshots of and one thing or another because my mind's not fully away. And if there is all else, I'll take it on. But if there ain't, TTFN. There was one other thing and it completely escaped me until I started editing the videos. It's this here. This. If you've got any questions about anything that I've talked about in these videos, my illness with neck flash, my cancer, my kidney cancer, anything, then email me at that address. I'm making a point of telling you this now because it was only yesterday that I realised I thought it was signstuff@gmail.com when I set the email up. It's not, it's signstuff8, the number 8 @gmail.com. So if you look there, that's the actual proper email address, signstuff8 @gmail.com. If you've got any questions, like I say, on the 23rd of July, which is 15 days away, no, 14 days, 2 weeks today, on the 15th of July, I will be doing a questions and answers, if anybody sends any questions in. So if you've got anything you want to ask me about my illnesses, my recovery, scootering, music, anything. Just be nice. But anything you want to ask me, then please ask me, and I will do my best to answer them. Failing that, it will just be another show full of me talking bollocks about nothing. There was something else, and I can't for the life of me remember. But there we go. Ta-da.